So I'm back, and it's Sunday, November 5th, and this is the second reading of the day, and I'm doing Mitch McConnell. It's interesting because before the election, I would not pay a lot of attention to politics. I wasn't super aware of a lot of politicians, especially Republicans. So I don't know. It's just interesting because I feel like I know a lot about the people in the administration, but that's because I've been paying attention for a while now. But Mitch McConnell still is sort of I would not call him a mystery, but it's like a new character. I know he's been around forever and people have very strong feelings about him, but it's kind of like, for me, it's like, it's pretty new, relatively new. So this was one of those like strange readings, like different from the other ones, but I guess interesting. And I know it's hard to get a sense because I feel like in his case there isn't like a very clean story, like one, two, three. It just shows that he is if I have a feeling about him that he's very methodical but slow at the same time. That he's like has one point and he follows that one way of working, but he's not flexible almost, and that he's under a lot of stress and that there's been a lot of internal fighting and just a lot of conflict. I feel like I feel like we don't even know the amount of stress he's been under because of the Trump administration. And I feel like in a way the feeling or the vibe I get from this reading is that he thought he was going to get something from this from having Trump as the president, but I feel like it's almost like a wave that overtook him. Like he didn't calculate how fast things would change or how much they would fight him. And I feel like he's somehow is aware eventually or will be aware that he made a mistake or that he just wasn't he didn't calculate and that there was a price to pay in the end. And that's him. It feels very different from everybody else that I've done so far, just because in a way it has a almost like a movie, like you have a panning view of like the not an event but like an emotional response or something. It's hard to explain. So it just shows. It just starts with this is like a weird, not weird, but an interesting kind of present. So this is a card of judgment, right? So it's like either he's coming to terms with something or there's like actual judgment going on. And what's like this is a card of the birds, and the birds are cards of meetings and conversations. So I feel like he's having conversations about this judgment. Okay. And I feel like obviously there's a legal context to the situation that we're experiencing. So it's either that he's having conversations about this judgment or that, yeah, that's and I feel like whenever cards come up, I should always take them very literally. So it's like conversations about the judgment. Reversed Page of Pentacles, that's well, it's just a person who is very like set in his ways, like not taking risks, okay, having ideas, but I feel like really not taking risks. And then being a fox, which is in a way, I feel like that's his reputation, right? A lot of people who are a lot more familiar with him than I am seem to always bring that up about him, like he's a fox. Don't trust him, okay? And in a way, the feeling that I get from this, and again, it's just like a feeling, because I feel like I don't have a lot of information, but I get the sense that he is probably having conversations, maybe with Mueller, who knows, about this, or about this judgment. and he is not being forthcoming, or he's not being honest. Because really, whenever this card appears, it's like, be careful, somebody is not being honest. There's something behind the scenes. So I feel like he thinks he's very clever, or like he's just not being honest. And I don't know if it's like because he seems to be involved in wanting to like um, derail the investigation or something. There's something there, but I feel like ultimately he's not being forthcoming. He's stalling this conversation, and that's just his nature almost. Like he's not going to give in, or he's not going to agree. And in a way, I feel like that's his downfall. Like he's not, it's like the situation is bigger than he is, but he still has the same like attitude or something. So like I said, it's a little bit, it's not telling me a lot. It's like, okay, it's just as his attitude and the conversations he's having. And in the past, that's also pretty interesting. I feel like he's been through so much recently, or I guess in this, the background is really very acrimonious, okay? So unlike everybody else, he gets the synth card at the beginning, which is like, I don't know what that means exactly, but it's interesting that it's like, and this is the Hierophant upright. So I feel like this could be his position as a, like kind of like a keeper of the norm. And I feel like this could be him. Okay, he's the leader of the group that keeps the norms. But this is a threat to him. Like it's like he's facing a threat of getting his position cut, or having his position, like his position, not in the meaning of his title, but like his actual almost symbolic role as the keeper of the norms. Not exactly as like, oh, I am the head of the whatever, but it's like he's under threat, basically, okay? And underneath this is a King of Cups. It could be him, right? He's like this blonde guy, I guess, and a lot of money behind him. Or it could be this. But I feel like this is probably him. Okay, so it's like he's under threat of losing his position as a keeper of the norms. Although, and there's money involved. Somehow, it's like I have a feeling these are people who back him. He has backers, okay, and this could also be his backers. But I feel like because there's some money involved, or he has money of some sort, or the money is behind him, that's what keeps him in place or something, okay? So that's the feeling I have. And then next to this, you have okay, this is a card of a happy home, like happy. It's a card, usually a card of weddings. It usually means happiness. And I feel like in a way it's like he's in a safe position. Like that's his standing is like he earned the leadership of the house or whatever. I know he's not in the house, but you know what I mean? It's like he's in a safe position. But this card comes, and this card is about fighting. So it's like he has to fight. It's like painful, but it's fighting. Okay, he's fighting. And it also means pain, but kind of like physical pain, and like kind of like a lot of discussions, a lot of it's just like it could also be that it could also mean the White House or something. It's like I just feel like there's a lot of painful news. This is like news. And this is a person, he's asserting himself, and there's just painful news to him. All of this, and I'll just combine the other ones because I feel like this background to him, it just feels like a lot of conflict and a lot of pain. But pain, right? So it's like this position as like the leader, keeper of the norm is under threat. And then from this house, these people in this house are fighting him. Like this is a card of like fight. So there's like a lot of conflict. People want to take him down, basically. And then here, it's pretty interesting too. It's like this is next to this. So it's like he has some money, or the money people are behind him. Or this is a message, like the message. So he's a messenger of money. So in a way, it's kind of, you know how people say that the Republicans are, a lot of them are just doing what the donors say. So I feel like in a way that's true. At the same time that he's embattled, he's also the messenger for these donors. Like that's his power. Like he asserts himself as being a messenger for money. Okay. And then becomes this position, which I've already spoken about, which is the judgment. Um, and I'll just show you quickly. Normally I don't do this, but I'll just show you because of the progression of discussion and fighting. So like this is like a painful or fighting. What's painful? The conversation. So he's having painful conversations, and he gets like, these are messages. What are the messages about? These like shady messages. Okay, so like it's just like a lot of backstabbing and fighting and all of those things. And then right after we get, and that this is, and then he's having conversations, right? So it's like the birds, and then with what? With the house. What is the house? The White House. So like this is conversations with the house, the White House, right? So it's like this is a person, the Knight of Pentacles reversed is a person who is like slow to move. Like he's stuck in his ways, kind of set in his ways. Like everything is predictable to him, or like I feel like he's not knowing how to move fast. He should move faster, but he's not moving faster. Okay. And this is like, so this column of the first future here, it's like, again, it's just like very similar combination that happens all the time. It's like the White House and the foreign power. So the moon card upright is behind the house. So I feel like, I mean, behind the ship. So I feel like it's kind of like the moon has this connotation of illusions, of fantasy, but it's also like you're not seeing the full picture. Like, watch out. Like, and I feel like in this context, it's saying like he was kind of slow. Like he was like stuck in his ways, or like not able to deal with change very well. And then in the middle of the night, the influence of the foreign power got stronger in the White House, right? So I feel like he miscalculated maybe what was going to happen, and this is what ended up happening. Like he's a little slow, and the White House is fighting with him, and the Russian influence became a lot stronger than he was able to understand, like at the time. Okay, and then here it shows like death reversed. It means not moving on, like not being able to understand, like to move on from the past. So he's like, again, a person stuck, sort of like stuck in the past while the influence spreads. Okay, and this is like an impulsive, like I don't want to say necessarily authority, but it's like an impulsive, risk taking, like kind of like brash person, which is like sounds a little bit like Trump, and it's a child. So it's like the immature, brash child, and the influence expands. So what this was just the first part of the reading, and what this is showing me is that it's giving me this background of like a lot of infighting, a lot of, it's like he wasn't able to see what was going to happen, and what has happened is that he thought he had some power, he was in a position of power, but he's in, there's a lot of threat like under him, or a lot of threat to his influence and position. And now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more, I do know that the candidate, there's like the Bannon faction that's trying to oust people like him, or like the I guess the more, how do you say it, I don't want to say mainstream Republicans or something like that, and they seem to be losing. So what it's showing that he wasn't able to counter this influence that's going against him, because in a way it's, I have the feeling that he's kind of like a slow, methodical person, and the force that came against him is very strong and very like boom, right? They're like very strategic and kind of like fast movers, relatively speaking. Okay, so um so what's showing, it's like this is like a little bit weird. I feel like in a way this, and I'll show you, because I asked like what's going to happen to him in the Russia investigation. I pulled out the second part of the reading, and it's odd to me in a way. I'll just discuss it and see what happens. And I feel like, I don't know if he's like has a health problem or something. Again, I'll just say what like he has a secret health problem, or something else, but I'll show you. So this is like a card of like, it's not heartbreak, but it's like emotional apathy or something like that. Like you're like romantic person, just thinking about all these like great like castles in the air kind of thing or something. But I feel like in this context is that he didn't get what he want like in his heart or whatever. And this is a card that usually means health, but it also means longevity. So it has a double meaning in the context of his reading. So I'll just go over like the possibilities of what this could mean. So this is a secret, okay? So it shows a person who wanted action, wanted to make things happen, but was getting frustrated because things weren't happening a lot for him, okay? So then there's a secret covering this. And there's an ending, a death of some sort, okay? And a transformation. So I feel like, in a way, what this is showing me is that there's this like there's a long-term secret here. Something's going to be revealed, and that may destroy him. Okay, like I don't know. Again, I don't know what transformation this is. I don't know if it could be that his health problem is revealed, or that really it's the secret that has been there for a really long time. Okay, so that's the first part, and I feel like this part it was going to be about like what does Miller tell him or something like that. Maybe it's like the secret that you've been harboring for a long time is going to be revealed. I don't know. Okay, that's why I feel like some of these readings don't make necessarily a lot of sense. And for his defense, and I feel like there's a weird, I don't know. This is like again, I feel like a really weird like reading where I feel like I'm in his position and I'm looking backwards as if almost like he's looking at his life, like back at what he could have done differently or like why he made the decisions that in a way led to his demise. I feel like there's a demise to him, but it's different from the demise of the people that are more like closer to this. Okay. So anyway, so this is like an empress reversed. And the empress upright is like basically fertility, wealth, creativity, and abundance, right? I feel like it's like abundance and wealth, basically. But if it's turned around, it's like he needed money, or like there was something like he didn't have enough for whatever he needed. And so he saw an opportunity. So this is like how he explains the story, right? So there's an opportunity. And maybe he found this person or somebody who offered him like some money or something like that, and that created like a lot of obstacles, a lot of problems for him. Like it would last a very long time, and he was like really embroiled. Like this card I've said before, it's like a person with a lot of skeletons in the closet, right? Like they don't want to. There's something holding them back. They don't want to address it, but they have these like skeletons in the closet, and this leads to an ending. Lead to an ending. So it's like something like he made a mistake by taking this money, and now there are a lot of obstacles, and those obstacles and whatever secret he had in the closet led to his demise. Okay, but that at the end there's a message, or like maybe he got it. There's a message or like some sort of message from him or about him that is key. Okay, to okay. And this is like people who don't want to move on. Like he needs to move on. He had a hard time moving on. Somebody has a hard time moving on. And this is a card that I've said before. It's like heavy burden. It's basically guilt. Okay. So I feel like there's something, it's saying here, like there's some sort of like, he has a secret, something about like not castles in the air, like, what's the word? Yeah, skeletons in the, there's something something hidden here, like about him or something that will eventually come to light. And it's probably some sort of like message or something. And the message is going to be key to his guilt or someone's guilt. Okay. And then the reputation, this is the world upside down. His world turns upside down and his reputation is stained forever or something. Like, okay, so this is like, I'm just trying to read this very literally. So it's like a message is a key, not wanting to move on, guilt, and then the world's upside down and reputation. So it's like In a way, this card explains a lot of the reading. Like, it's like this is a person who doesn't really want to move on. Like, they're stuck in an old way of doing things, and he loses as a result. And in a way, all the stuff that he's like hasn't dealt with in his life kind of like came back and got him. Okay, so like, so this is the, again, his reputation. This is a card of reputation, how the world sees you. It has turned upside down, and he could also have the reputation of helping the world turn upside down. Okay, so that's that. It's like, it's so funny because it's like, it's one of these readings where I feel like I don't really have a resolution, and I don't have a very clean understanding of like, oops, I don't have a very clean understanding of like how I don't know, of like the full story. Okay, like it just seems very like a movie, like a train, like a travel in the train or something. You know, it's just like a collection of missteps or something. So it's not it's funny. I thought it was going to be a little bit different. But like I said, those things you never know what to expect. Things change. Okay? All right, so that was Mitch McConnell. Thanks for watching.